right. We're seeing some of the, it's not heavy artillery, we're seeing some of the some of the tanks and the Humvees coming.
No, this is the general purpose vehicles. The army was looking for that for a long time, so they are replacing the old ones with this new species. Well, actually, these are four-wheel drives, and they have automatic pressure control in the tires so that you can go cross-country. And this is Armored Personnel Carrier 80. It has the amphibious capability. It is also it has enhanced the cross-country capability.
I think we know something about the tracks, though. What do they do to protect Red Square?
Mustn't forget Red Square is the UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yeah, sure. Well, they've taken care of that. They do have the especially rubberized padding on the tracks.
I think maybe we call them galoshes. Yes.
Galoshes? Okay. Well, call them whatever you want to. They serve the trick.
But they're protecting the cobblestones.
They do protect the stone.
There we go. See, there we go.
And here we're coming with the airborne fighting vehicle of fourth generation. It has a very powerful gun, 100mm smooth bore.
Let's answer some of the critics. Is this new material?
Yeah, these aren't demonstrating any Russian power as it goes. This is just a demonstration of some of the military hardware that is available today here in Russia.
Russia, of course, has a very rich military tradition, and it's giving a small sample to the population. I mean, we have to remember the entire country is watching this parade right now. If they're not participating in when they're watching it right now.
I think we've got to point out as well, again, to viewers who've just joined us from around the world, why this is what we're seeing here today. It's a bit different today, the Victory Day parade, because we're seeing tanks. What else we will be seeing coming through? We haven't seen in previous years.
Well, actually, it is the performer is the same. I'd say the scenario is the same. Maybe they're demonstrating the first non-Soviet strategic missile, which could be a total
flyover here very soon. We'll have seen some planes as well.
And here are the self-propelled artillery systems.
But in previous years, it's been mainly marching bands and marching regiments. We haven't seen as many four-wheel drives. We haven't seen as many tanks, have we? That's a little bit different this year.
Well, this year it is, and as we told in the very beginning of our conversation, that the military hardware was not on the show for about 18 years.
Yeah.
And now it's the first time since that time.
And of course, this isn't here today to send any shock messages around the world. This is, as we've pointed out, this is to instill some pride within Russia for its military. But what is the peak? I want to bring you in here again, just for viewers that have just joined us, because it's we don't want to go frightening people around the world. No, seeing all this today. Why was the decision taken to put in machines like this rather than just having marching bands and marching military?
Russia has returned on the world stage in a dramatic way, and I think I give that credit to former President Putin. I think that's the first time I've said that, former President Putin. And this is just another element of that. Russia is multifaceted. It is a great economic power, or becoming one, energy power, military is part of that triad.
Don't you think that might be criticised?
Well, certainly
watching New York this morning, there's too much rhetoric going on.
I watched all the wires in the newspapers before I came in here, and of course it's just all old Soviet junk, and they're trying to make a cheap point. That's what the Western media is saying. Well, that's what they always say. This is for domestic consumption more than anything else, and it shows that Russia is going to defend its borders. I've said for over and over again, Russia lives in a dangerous neighborhood. It's showing also its neighbors that it will protect itself, but Russia is not projecting military power in any sense of the word at all. It is a defensive country. It's a defensive foreign policy when it comes to the military. This is what's most important. And also, this could be kind of an arms bazaar. Russia sells a lot of weapons abroad. It sells more abroad than it supplies to its own military at home. Believe it or not, it's true. And there's a lot of criticism of that within the military here.
Peter, let me just interrupt you in a way. Just to compare the losses of which we suffered and psychologically in what kind of state a nation finds itself after such a blow. You remember the attack on the Pearl Harbor in 1941, and the Americans lost 3,000 men and officers there. Actually, some people are saying that even the nuclear blast on Hiroshima was kind of retaliation for the Pearl Harbor. And when the nation lost 29 million people, isn't it natural for a nation to protect its borders by just any means they got?
What kind of missile are we seeing here?
Well, this is the first missile which was produced after the fall of the Soviet Union. This is called Topol, or in NATO classification SS-25. It is
an intercontinental ballistic missile.
It is part of the nuclear deterrence forces of Russian Federation, and the peculiarity of it is it has a very powerful booster, which makes it very difficult to intercept this missile on the initial stage, and in the final stage it also has about many jet nozzles.
There's a lot of critics out there saying that Russia's nuclear element it's deteriorating. They're getting old. They're going to have to replace them. They're replacing them fast enough.
Well,
because they're saying that the parity that Russia has with the United States now there's a danger that it will lose parity because a lot of the ICBMs are aging and they're not functioning very well.
I think to the professionals, this conversation is of no sense, because actually both countries are watching each other very carefully and trying to respond, not in the Soviet manner, but in a very conservative and economic way. That's my opinion. And here is the aviation.
Now, we're seeing, we're promised 143 items of military hardware. Just give you facts and figures parading through, and indeed above Moscow's Red Square. What have we got there? An Antonov, what's that?
Yes, exactly. This is the largest transport airplane is coming, Antonov 124. It's
largest in the world.
Largest in the world, and it is escorted by 2 fighters.
That's a real beast, isn't it? Well, how would that be used then?
It's for transportation, transportation of forces. At the same time, it could be also used for industrial and commercial purposes of the state in case of certain disasters.
I mean, it looks big at a distance.
It is.
We're also promised to fly over by various military jets as well.
Yeah, they're coming further on. Yes, we'll see them just over the Red Square. And actually, you will see also some refueling operations over the square.
Simulation,
of course. Right.
Of course, although holding military parades in Red Square has become...
Excuse me, Kevin. Yeah. This is just a blackjack as per NATO classification, and the Russian pilots call it White Swan for its beautiful flight. It is Tupolev 160 strategic bomber with variable geometry wing, capable to fly at a speed of 2,200 miles with a distance of 17,500 miles.
Yes. Just like simulated refueling again.
Ilyushin 78 coming, and behind you will see the strategic bomber Tupolev 95 MC, escorted with also 2 fighters.
I've always marveled how they managed to get that pipe onto the front of the plane and not spill a drop.
Well, that's why we sit in the studio and talk.
That's what they have there, I guess. Although this parade is a tradition, the first one took place in Red Square in June 1945, didn't it? There hasn't been a parade every year, has there? There have been some breaks?
There were breaks in the 60s, and then we, again with the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was more or less abandoned for a few years and then brought back, but without the military hardware. And now, again, this is why so many people are paying attention to it. I'll kind of put a spin on this here. A lot of people think that Dmitry Medvedev is going to be Putin light, to be easier to work with, blah, blah, blah. But, there's a nice kind of coincidence that we have a new president and we have military put on display. I think there's a little bit of